Hey, salute to everybody that's going to join me today. We're going to have an interesting topic because we want to talk about this conversation. I hear it used quite frequently, especially with the Casey Diddy situation. Real man, real man. What is a real man? And what is a real man in 2025? And should women even be telling men what a real man is? Because if you would find constantly that every time they talk about a real man, it's always something that only benefits them. When they talk about your masculinity, it's always about them. It's never about you being a man, real man being what's good for you. No one says to you, no one shames you for being a real man for things that benefit you. They never say, you know what? Real men have good blood pressure, or real men have good A1C. Your sugar levels, you know, if you have good blood sugar levels, you're a real man. Or if you have financial freedom that benefits you, you're a real man. It's always about what's good for everybody else that makes you a real man. But what is a real woman? Everything that serves them. So it's never about what benefits you as an individual. And that's why sometimes you always have to, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. Why are they saying that you are a real man? What is it that they're benefiting from the situation that's all about them? So when they call you a real man, or they use whatever else, I hear in the back of your neck should stand up, especially when it comes from women or simps, especially the boomer simps. You got to watch these boomer simps or Gen X simps because most of these guys were raised to identify through the woman, especially in matriarchal culture, because they have this altruistic mindset and mentality of community and relationships and whatever else. And that doesn't mean that you don't take care of those that are valuable to you or that add value to your life. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a circle of value. I'm not talking about a circle of energy. I'm talking about purely altruism as masculinity is being defined. And that's the fundamental problem we see here. Masculinity is being defined purely through the lenses of what women want and altruism. Men are not allowed to have any desires or wants or needs or make any requirements, but they're expected to jump on the sword. They're expected to sacrifice themselves. They're expected to be like these guys right here. That's what they want men to be. This is their idea of what masculinity is in 2025. These types of individuals are what today's masculinity has become, and what especially certain types of women are looking for. They're really looking, I'm not really looking for, but looking for as they get older, is the type of guy to save them from a lot of their struggles and their troubles in life. And that's really what we've come to in 2025. So, what is masculinity? What is manhood? What is a real man? And that's the definition that's out here. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about right here. Remember this particular individual. I'm gonna add it to the street.
A list of jobs that men should not do, especially grown ass men. Okay. For one, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. Matter of fact, any fast food restaurant, if you think that you're a grown ass man working in a fast food restaurant is okay, something is wrong with you. All right. Leave those jobs to the teenagers. My nephew can't even get a job right now because there's some grown ass man in his goddamn 40s flipping my goddamn burger. Okay, let it go. Leave it alone. That job is not for you. Anything in retail, okay? I don't want to see no grown ass man handing me a dress, okay? Why are you a grown ass man working at Ross? That makes absolutely no sense, okay? Target, Marshalls, like, guys, give it up. Leave these jobs to the kids. Leave these jobs to the teenagers. These are jobs you get in high school, in college. But once you're a grown ass man, you do not need to be working in any fast food restaurant or any retail restaurant. And for you high value men that think that it's high value to work for the city, let me tell you something. You're absolutely wrong. All right. No police officers, no firefighters, no construction workers, no mailmen, no post office. If you consider that a high value man, you're absolutely wrong. Okay. There's nothing high value about making 70,000 a year. You men that think working for the city is high value, it's
First of all, I've never seen any good, honest, hardworking, honorable man. So here's you have essence. We basically have what back in the 90s we would call a chicken head, defining what men supposed to be, defining what manhood and masculinity is supposed to be. You see? Now all of a sudden, the guy working at the post office, at the police department, at the fire department. So we should tell all the police officers, the fire department workers, all the postal workers to give up these jobs, which was what she's trying to say. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like she literally is going after men who work jobs that protect her safety, her well-being, and everything. And this is, again, years ago, a woman like this would be considered a chicken head. These are birds talking to us now because we have had 70 years of this corporate sponsored feminism, women's empowerment stuff for about the past 70 years. And in the 90s, before social media, there was a big, huge separation between respectable women, decent women, and low quality women. You see what I'm saying? But because of feminism, because they've basically silenced criticism, silenced any type of pushback towards women by shame. They call you toxic. Women, if they spoke up against other women, they'd call them pygmies. They'll call them mommies or what they call it, internalized misogyny. They would say a woman hates another woman if she calls them. So they've worked so hard to eliminate any type of shame or self-respect for women. And they have silenced so many women that are respectable, honorable women. Because back in the day, these type of women, a guy would get shamed if you were walking around with this type of woman at 11 o'clock in the day. They would call you out on that, right? They're like, yo, a peaceful life, or anybody in the chat. I saw you the other day with that chicken head. Yo, you down bad. Because, not that you should be consuming these 304s. But never in this conversation has she ever thought to herself, is she even worthy of any of the men that she's talking about? She never considered, are you even worthy of any of the men you are shaming? It never dawned on her in her head because we've had so many years of boosting women and lowering men. So she doesn't think to herself, what about me? And this woman is a stripper. This is a stripper talking to men, basically a chicken head. And this is how low we've gotten and how we've beaten down on men so much that men don't even understand their value. And men don't even fight for their respect. They kind of just take it. Like, there's nothing they can do about it because we've created a matriarchal culture in that community. And it's a gynocentric environment, which has changed as of late. But this is the type of talking that they do to grown ass men. Why does she feel so comfortable talking like this? One, the women allow it. Two, many of the men have just gotten soft or just ignoring, because sometimes people, if they push back against this type of stuff, they get shamed, especially women, by the sisterhood who promotes this type of this mediocrity in terms of the type of women that be talking out here. So basically, in this environment, they tolerate any type of disrespect towards men. There's no more boundaries. One, because of weak men. Two, because of corporate sponsored feminism. Three, because of dysfunctional culture and community. Right? We've tolerated a lot of this because women do a lot of the spending. They support a lot of the activities. So even the guys who exploit women in terms of the panda bear community, they tolerate this. Nobody says and say, look, this is a chicken talking to us. But listen to the arrogance in her voice. The arrogance in her voice. And what does that tell you about the mindset and the mentality of the people talking about what is a man? And then you have the religious women too. Oh, they'll hit you about 10 scriptures about a man's duty to provide and protect. But if you hit them with some more scripture, you hit them back and say, you know what? Are you a Proverbs 31 woman? Are you a virgin? You're a misogynist, dude. You're a misogynist demon. You hate women. How dare you suggest that we behave like virtuous Proverbs 31 women? But I was like, well, you just hit me with 10 scriptures about what a man's supposed to be and what a man's supposed to do. I can't fire some scriptures back at you. Look at you. You're an insecure, pathetic man. How dare you have standards? So they want men to be really, and this is where we go back to the KC and Diddy situation. Your masculinity is defined by them only to be exploited by them. So what is a man to them? A man is nothing more than a disposable tampon in 2025 to women. That's why I say masculinity has to be developed separate from women. That's why I'm a big promoter of these all-boys schools and whatever else, where we can focus on manhood and masculinity and self-development separate from women, because a lot of men even today see themselves through the lenses of women and identify themselves through women. That's why we have so many people, so many guys involved in sim culture, because everything they do is designed around women, worshiping women. Everything is about women. So what happens in this society, especially with social media, is that there's no separation now. Women used to manage and maintain a separation. Like, for instance, a respectable woman, you go back to the 80s and even the 90s, they would shame other women for being chicken heads. What's going on, my brother Ren? Salute to you, man. Peace and blessings, right? Remember the time, right, Brother Ren, when women would actually get on women for being chicken heads. And they would even say something to dudes. Oh, you be messing with them chicken heads, don't you? And you'd be like, what? What are you talking about, Sandra? Yeah, I heard you messing with that girl down the street. You'd be like, what? You'd be ashamed. Like, no, you don't want nobody to know you consume a chicken head. You don't want to be like, if you're walking down the street and a chicken head holler at you like, hey, we call you by your name and shit. You'd be like, yo, pretend you didn't hear what she said. Because it was embarrassing. But now in 2025, there's no more standards in the community. Even ran through women are talking to men, goofy, crazy, out the side of their mouth. These are birds. So some men have gotten weaker and softer. Men just don't know their value. And you got to listen to this type of crap. Exactly. It's like now is no separate. Listen to this. Look at this. Look at this specimen that's talking to men. Look at this individual here. I mean, like, it's embarrassing. Look at this specimen that's talking to us. I wouldn't even call her a woman. Look at this specimen that's talking to men.
Here's a list of jobs that men should not do, especially grown-ass men, okay? For one, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, matter of fact, any fast food restaurant, if you think that you're a grown ass man working in a fast food restaurant is okay, something is wrong with you, all right? Leave those jobs to the teenagers. My nephew can't even get a job right now because there's some grown ass men in his goddamn 40s flipping my goddamn burger. Okay? Let it go. Leave it alone. That job is not for you. Anything in retail, okay? I don't want to see no grown ass man handing me a dress, okay? Why are you a grown ass man working at Ross? That makes absolutely no sense, okay? Target, Marshalls, like, guys, give it up. Leave these jobs to the kids. Leave these jobs to the teenagers. These are jobs you get in high school, in college. But once you're a grown ass man, you do not need to be working in any fast food restaurant or any retail restaurant. And for you high value men that think that it's high value to work for the city, let me tell you something. You're absolutely wrong, all right? No police officers, no firefighters, no construction workers, no mailmen, no post office. If you consider that a high value man, you're absolutely wrong, okay? There's nothing high value about making $70,000 a year. You men that think working for the city is high value, it's
First of all, I've never seen any good, honest, hardworking, honorable men walk around here talking about high value men or any kind of men. Guys are busy working hard, trying to survive, trying to take care of their families. Secondly, what gives women the audacity to think they can come in and shame men and try to put some type of standard on men? Men take care of men. We hold men accountable to standards. And most of the shaming that I see that's done out here in these spaces are for women that men don't find desirable in the first place. They're either weaving it up, sandling it up, fake hair, fake lashes, look like Miss Piggy, so on and so forth. These are undesirable women. You're shaming the unattainable men. That police officer, that postal worker, whatever else, they're not really looking at women like you. They find women like you to be undesirable, uninteresting. In fact, many of these men have checked out, and that's why you have such a high rate of singlehood with amongst certain women of the sisterhood. Salute to you, good sisters. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about basically the undesirables. Women like this, women with these types of opinions, radical women, feminist women, woke women, women that don't care to follow under a man's leadership. In fact, many of the men that are in their families are good, hardworking, blue-collar men. And another point to that regard, you don't know what's in a man's bank account based upon what kind of job he has. A share of Amazon was $1.70 back in the late 90s. You don't know whether that guy is an avid investor and disciplined. That guy making $70,000 a year may have been a disciplined investor, hardworking, honorable, respectable man that have invested his money right, has bought real estate, maybe got a couple of rental properties. You don't know what's in that man's bank account. But we're not in the business of qualifying ourselves for chicken heads. Chicken heads are undesirable women. We don't care in terms of, I don't want to make it a situation where she makes a statement and we're qualifying ourselves for a woman that we don't desire in the first place, which is a chicken head. And this is the problem that we have nowadays, is that we got women that in the 90s, other women would not even, like, women held women like this in check back in the early 90s. There were good, respectable women, quality black women. And then there were women that you weren't seen with at 11 o'clock during the daylight. There were nighttime women and daylight women. Look, I'm not judging anybody. Maybe you shouldn't be consuming those nighttime women too. But at the end of the day, there were certain women that were categorized in the 90s. Now with social media, we have opinions of all types of individuals, chicken heads particularly, women that are undesirable by men, or that were women that guys consumed at 11 o'clock at night, that are yapping up their jaws during the daytime, telling men what they need to be to serve them even though they are the undesirables nowadays. Nobody cares about really making themselves qualified for chicken heads. That's why we on this channel we talk about brothers that level up for financial freedom and early retirement. If I use women as a barometer, I would have to say, or women that because of sexual liberation, to qualify for the women out here, guys would literally have to sell everything they own and go to homelessness because that's the value of high mileage used box out here. Women have, like her, I'm not saying her specifically, have enjoyed sexual liberation. They've been ran through women. So you have the opinions of some ran through women. I'm not talking to you sisters that are good, honorable, respectful sisters, okay? I'm talking about ran through women with opinions. Women that don't look anything like what men desire. BBLs, implants, smothered with makeup, like, you know, they put putty and Bondo on a car, just smothered on their face, covered with makeup, that don't have their natural face, that don't have their natural bodies, that are hard to deal with, that are hard on the ears. Some of them are not even easy on the eyes. And if you wash off that makeup, these are basic average women. So they have these types of arrogant opinions about what high value men and all this other stuff. And that's the thing about with Kevin Samuels. All they heard from Kevin Samuels is high value man, 6 figures and above. What they didn't hear about is what men desire. That part they blocked out. They didn't listen to that part. They don't care to listen to that part. What they care, and that's what I see in a lot of these spaces, is men-ish, shaming men, shaming the unattainable men. So let's move on from that. We got to get into talking about altruism, right? And this is what the problem when we talk about adaptation. What's up, Top Gun? Salute, my brother. Salute to you guys, man. Make sure you guys hit the like button, man. You want to support the channel, please do. My brother Top Gun is always supporting, so I'm not worried about brother. The brother XL Pro's in here. Everybody's in here. But we have to have this conversation because it's this, everybody, they're trying to hijack masculinity. Now that the economy is bad, women are losing their houses, people are broke, all these social programs are being cut. Now, redefining masculinity is critical. Rebranding women and redefining masculinity. We want to make men altruistic. So masculinity, like that 304 there, she was bragging about having 3 bodies on her, whatever, how many bodies on her. But let's talk about altruism. And we got to go to Ayn Rand. 1930s philosopher, writer. And we talk about altruism declares that any action taken for the benefit of others is good, and any action taken for one's own benefit is evil. Thus, the beneficiary of an action is the only criterion of moral value. And so long as that beneficiary is anybody other than oneself, anything goes. And that's what we have, is this mindset, this mentality, the altruistic mentality they try to bestow upon men in an environment where they also are attacking masculinity as toxic. So they want you to be, your life to be about them and what benefits them. And if you're not doing anything to benefit them, you're trash and you're useless, basically. And we want to go further. And altruism is a moral system which holds that man has no right to exist for his own sake, that service to others is the sole justification of his existence, and that self-sacrifice is his highest moral duty, value, and virtue. This is the moral base of collectivism, of all dictatorships. So your life does not belong to you, and you're not worthy of anything unless you're doing this type of garbage right here. This is what they consider a hero, right? This is what they consider a man eating the leftovers of other men, you are a hero. You should not want a woman that hasn't been damaged. And he's no better because he's promoting this type of mindset, this mentality as being true masculinity and manhood. And you can't help these guys. I mean, they're the type of guys you can't even save them. You can't even save these dudes, man. So you should not want anything good for yourself. And if you protect yourself and preserve your resources in your own self-interest, now you're useless and you're a monster. It's a one-sided conversation that only talks about what's good for women. Never anything about what's the man is just a disposable, right? A man is just a disposable. Do they care anything about this guy over here? No. He's just a disposable, eating Diddy's leftovers. It's crazy to think. But the crazy part about it, right? These cucks and these simps are irredeemable. I'm going to give you an example of why you can't even talk to these guys. We saw the situation with the kid from Colorado who just got married. You tried to save him, right? Travis Hunter, right? Where's he at? So you tried to save this brother. Right here. You tried to save him, right? I mean, if you really look, I mean, this is, you look at, he just got married, right? This is why you got to let these, the same way you let these wild horses run free with the women, let him make his mistakes as a man. Let him find out the hard way, right? There you go. Let him find out the hard way, right? He's not going to learn. You can't tell them anything. You know. He's going to learn the hard way. And this is what I programmed mindset. Really, I think the issue with him is low self-esteem. So the issues with him is low self-esteem. I mean, I feel bad for the young man, but we say that a lot in this culture. You know, it is what it is, but he has to learn the hard way that these types of women don't want. Maybe she'll drop a couple babies for him and hit him in court a couple years. Hopefully my hope is that maybe she turns out to be a decent person. But it's only a hope because I don't want to see anybody get ran over the coals. But the problem with guys like that and Casey's husband is you can't talk to them. You're wasting your time. And I'll give you an example of the type of dudes that we're dealing with, you know, because you're trying you're trying your best to talk to these guys. You're wasting your time. They're not listening. All right. Here's who you're talking to. All right. Let me give you an example of the type of guy that Casey's husband is, right? Guys, make sure you hit the like button, okay? We're going to go to this clip by Andrew Wilson, fair use, okay? And we're going to see a type of guy, like, okay, this guy right here. Let me remove that from there real quick, guys. I'll get back to it. Let me show you what you're talking to, right? This is the type, this guy right here. Oh, yeah, right here. Okay. Guys like Travis Hunter and this guy right here. Travis Hunter is a younger version of this guy that's Chasey's husband right now. Classic simps, You can't talk to them. They just have to get crashed. They have to crash out on their own. Hard head, soft ass. Old saying. You know, they got to crash out on their own. Let me give you an example of the type of dude you're dealing with, right? Remove that from the screen, okay? Because this is what they're trying to sell, because all these women are looking for somebody to save them right now, especially the way things are going. Let me give you an example of the type of guy you're dealing with these guys. This is a debate between Andrew Wilson and what I call the simp of the year.
I would say that the interpersonal sexual dynamics might be the worst they've ever been, but I also think that feminism and single. I would say that the interpersonal sexual dynamics might be the worst they've ever been, but I also think that feminism and single mom caused that.
That's an interesting. Why do you think that caused it?
Because all the stats show that every single rate that you can imagine, a metric, which is horrific on young men, usually comes from single mother homes. We're talking everything from homelessness on up.
Our
Like
single
almost
mother
everything.
is another term for single mother homes, fatherless homes.
Sure.
So why do you put it on women?
Because it's usually women who initiate being in the fatherless relationship, not men.
And why do they initiate being in a fatherless relationship?
The number one answer from women is that irreconcilable differences.
So do you know anyone in a woman in your life?
Now watch the cognitive dissonance for this guy, okay? Classic Casey husband simp type guy, pandering, making excuses for women and whatever else. These are the type of guys that these women are looking for. Altruistic, heavily altruistic, and let's continue on. Fair use.
Has ever been divorced?
Sure.
Do they say, hey, we got divorced because we couldn't reconcile our differences, or do they say another reason?
Usually, well, I mean, they have all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, but they don't say we couldn't reconcile our differences, right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, what's your point?
Why do you use that as a reason women are getting divorced?
Because that's the reason they give is irreconcilable differences.
That's the reason they give in court, but what do they give in real life? What's the real reason women leave people?
They have a varying degree of things, but here's what's not happening. What they're not actually giving in real life is he was abusing me, he was beating me up, he was doing this, he was doing that. Usually,
do you know the top three reasons women file for divorce?
Tell me.
Infidelity, emotional neglect, and poor communication, followed by finances.
What's the top three, though?
That's what the top three I just said.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
yes,
the top three is not infidelity.
Yes, infidelity, emotional neglect, and poor communication, followed by finances.
Oh, so what's the number one reason?
I just said infidelity. I just said
infidelity is number one reason?
Correct.
Okay. Which one of these studies proves that?
Did you bring any studies?
Just tell me which one proves
You know what? Don't say any facts for the rest of this debate if you're not going to show me a study. How about that?
Bro, listen.
Don't show. No more facts. No more facts.
You got to stop interrupting him.
Dude,
every time you literally were interrupting.
Did I make
the
the claim or did you?
It's called moderating the show.
Mm-hmm.
You've been interrupting the entire time.
Okay.
If Andrew interrupts you, I'll say the same thing to him.
Yeah, but just real quick, did you make the claim or did I make the claim?
I made the claim.
Okay, great. Can you show it?
I don't have the data point in front of me, but I looked it up prior to this, and you can do it after.
Okay. What if we do it now?
Go for it.
Okay. Sure.
And where can I find this data? I'd like
around.
No, you looked it up.
I have
before.
a lot of data, man. I don't know exactly.
So you basically are not going to reach this guy, okay? You're not going to reach him. What I'm trying to show is the type of guys that we're dealing with, right? I want to show the cognitive disconnect. Male feminists, you nailed it right on the head. He doesn't I want to give you an example. They don't want facts. They don't want information. Here's what happened with those guys, okay? Male feminists, right? Let me remove this banner. Male feminists, like Casey's husband, they only learn through pain. These dudes learn through pain. You can't reason with them. Hey, appreciate it. Hey, welcome to the channel, all right? Appreciate your support. But they only learn through pain. You can't talk to a simp. You can't talk to a simp. A simp needs a good spanking. When they come to the point where they get crushed and smashed, and then they get knocked out of their false reality, and they realize that the world is not this utopia that they think it is. Then they'll come and they'll go through their red pill rage, and they'll get angry and they'll get frustrated, but they still haven't accepted the truth yet. Then they'll try for round number 2, because they will never allow those guys who talk men's content to be right. Oh, I ain't gonna never accept that. Maybe your peaceful life is telling me the truth. And then they go out there again and get cooked, dusted off. Because the thing about women like Casey and the rest of them, it's like a guy who takes on a fat chick and then she loses weight. She despises you for taking her on, for having such poor taste, and for having such bad decision making. The woman itself, after you've taken her from being not up to par or up to standard, she now resents you. Like, how could you have, you knew I was a prostitute and you still married me. Now I'm disgusted with you. Or like, you know I was 350 pounds overweight and you still got with me. Now I'm disgusted with you. It's crazy how that works. Because women don't respect and value mediocrity. That's the truth. They reverse on you like, look at you. Ugh. How could you have married me after what I did? You know what I mean? That stuff is not, you can't heal that shit. They hate you now. They hate you for accepting their mediocrity. Shit is crap, man. So you're not winning. You think you're winning. You get all the praises from the women saying, oh, you're a real man. Only a real man knows how to rescue a woman, save her from her misery. He's secure in his manhood. He doesn't care how many dudes pissed on his wife. How many dudes took out their sausages and pissed on her head. I don't care. I'm still going to kiss those lips if P. Diddy pissed on them lips and he kisses those lips after P. Diddy is pissed on it. And that's what makes you a man to them. Ugh. It almost makes me want to vomit just talking about it. And that's what they want men to do. They want men to be cleanup men. They want you digging out the trash can. Because what they did is, the worst part of feminism is sexual liberation. Sexual liberation. That's the worst part of feminism. That's the part that really opens the portal of trauma, is sexual liberation. You see? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. And these dudes, hey, look, it is what it is. And we're not talking about no. So why so many women support this? They're not supporting Casey's husband. They're supporting hope. They're supporting hope. They don't care about Casey's husband. They're supporting hope. Hope that one day, a hero is going to come, like Casey's husband, and he's going to sweep them away in the middle of the night, right? That's what they support. They support hope. They say, if Casey can get it, if Casey can get it, it's anybody can get it, can get it. If Casey can get it, so can I. He keeps the hope alive. So they support this because they support this. That's what they care about. Wishing for a hero. Wishing for a hero. So they don't really support this guy. They support their own self-interest. So they've gotten this campaign of shaming men to accept women's mediocrity. So they don't really, in fact, most of these women, if you will put them to the side, one-on-one conversation with these women, they think Casey's husband is disgusting. You know how you know? Because if you ask them if they had a son, would they want their son to be married to Casey? They'll be like, hell no. Hell no. Hell no. The exception is only about them because women are selfish. So they don't really support Casey's husband. They see the possibility, the dream, the fantasy that a hero is going to come and save them from all that sexual liberation pounding. And they want a bunch of dudes like this to rescue them from their poor decisions. That's what it really comes down to. So again, it's about them. What is a real man to them? A real man is that. He said, it's true. That's what a real man is. A real man is a sexual liberation waste service. That's what a real man is. A real man is sexual liberation waste service collector. He's in there getting it out the bin. They don't give a damn about your manhood unless it services them. They don't care. You know how you know also? Ask yourself the question. What happened to the B4 movement? What happened to that? You notice you don't hear anything about that anymore, right? Do women talk about this movement anymore? They don't talk about it anymore. So it is what it is. You know, they don't talk about this movement anymore. Why? Why don't they talk about this movement anymore? Because they're broke. That's why I don't talk about B4 no more. Broke and B4 don't go. Where they gonna get the money from? Where they gonna get the money from? So now we have junkyard dating. You know. See, because they tried this B4 thing, but it did, like, who's going? No, hell no. It ain't working. Man, I was pushing for this B4 so hard. I was like, yes, let's see how long they can last. It was like a scientific social experiment for me. I was the biggest supporter of this B4, whatever movement. I wanted to see how long they can last before. I wanted to see how they like, okay, so could you imagine this before, right? Imagine a bunch of women in a room and they talking to each other. Girl, we ain't giving these men none. And everybody in that room is saying the same thing. You know, they talk, Sandra, how was your weekend? Oh, I stayed to myself. I ain't slept with no man. At the same time, Sandra is sitting on the couch and she's freshly dripping. She just got pounded out last night. And she's looking at the other chicks, telling them that she is staying faithful to the cause. But her rent's due at the end of the month. And she ran up the credit cards and paid too much money shopping this month. And she's sneaking another man, like they've been looking each other in the face, lying to each other, saying, "Whoa, we celibate, we holding off from these men." They're getting ran through on the side, ramrodded. How do you know they're getting pounded out of them? How do you know they're staying faithful to the cause? They ain't staying faithful to no damn cause. So I wanted to see them just devour each other with arguments. You say, girl, that you're supposed to be on strike. How come I saw a dude go in your house at 11 o'clock at night? It would have been a great scientific experiment to watch. They can't do it. It was only a fantasy. I knew it, but I wanted to see it attempted. And if it's successful, it would be good for society. STDs would go down, pregnancies would go down, baby deletion would go down. It would be great for society if they did it. But there's no loyalty among them. Because they'll be looking at each other, dripping from last night's experience. Still, oh, I didn't try any that D. I didn't get any girl. And she'd be looking at her like, I thought I saw you with a dude. That was just my friend. He was just coming over to fix the light in my apartment. That moment would have lasted not even a week. That before movement would have been a 1 week movement. I wanted to see it though. It would have been interesting, but it never occurred because of this. You know, that killed the B4 movement. Brokenness killed the B4 movement. So now there's this push in society, the new hope movement of clean up man, sexual liberation. Get it where you can get it. And Casey husband is hope. He is hope. He is hope for the 304. He represents hope. That's what he's like, an angel of hope for them. Casey's husband is 304 hope. And I'm not against hope. Go and enjoy yourself. But then there's people like me who have a conversation. And we all do have this conversation. What is men getting at the end of this rainbow here? So now, I don't know, don't come at me. I'm not the hope snatcher. It'll be like, peaceful life, you the hope snatcher. No, I'm just trying to educate men that these damn women don't like your ass. Half of you dudes don't look nothing like the dudes that they used to date in their 20s. Yeah, it's like hope's been snatched away from them. And they're like, look, what they're trying to do is spread the good news that if you're like, look, guys, look at Casey's husband. Don't listen to these men in this men's spaces. They don't know what's good for them. And, you know, everybody wants that guy. Every woman is looking for that guy now. You know, the possibility is there. You know, hope is back. Hope is back. We got to look, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. So now this whole redefining masculinity thing is this. I got some news for you guys. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Because what they're trying to do now is use the church. They're using the church now. They're all packed into there today. They're packed in there today. Doing some serious spiritual rebranding. Not that I'm against anybody finding their way. But we all know that their spirituality and their religious belief system is all about what's good for them. I mean, I did a video on the conversation. I mean, I did a video about the situation. About how they operate and how they think. So this is what you got going on at the church now, okay? This is an example of the typical church-going woman today. Listen to her conversation. Remember we watched a video the other day? Listen to her logic.
It's not the man that he wants your baby daddy. It's not the man that he wants that child to grow up around. We have to remember that God is the ultimate parent. He's the ultimate dad. He sees everything we don't see. And the moment that two people conceive a child, they're both going through a cycle or a transition with God. And God is seeing our hearts to see, are we ready to step into his will and his purpose? Maybe I can't and maybe I'm not, and I really don't have to, is that man, and God was trying to have that baby, and that man started acting crazy. You automatically stepped up because you were prepared. Because guess what? God would have never gave you that child if he didn't feel you were prepared for that child. The only other person that has the, maybe I can't and maybe I'm not, and I really don't have to, is that man, and God was trying to make that man. So if that man decided not to stay in your child's life and he decided to leave, that's because he is not equipped to be that person, to be that leader, to be that provider, to be that person that God has to care over you and that child. Because God is saying he is not like me. God made us in the image of him, and he said that man is not like me. And I refuse to have that man hurt my child or hurt my daughter.
God.
So the next time you catch yourself crying about that man not being there, you need to stop, because that shows that you have no faith in God.
Oh my God. I'm about to lose my breakfast listening to that crap. I have gag reflexes. I never heard such garbage in my whole life. You see how they have taken God and religion and tried to now what she's going to do when she faces a man, she's going to hit you with about 10 scriptures. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Easy with the scriptures, baby. She hit you with 10 scriptures, get you back on your heels. And like hitting you with 10 blows, like a couple quick 10 jabs into your belly. Like, oh my God, she hit me with 10 scriptures. So you can't hold her accountable for anything, because now you're a bad person. Now Peaceful Life is evil. He's bad. He doesn't have spirituality. then she's going to say, well, you should marry me because God has forgiven me for all of my sins. You can't win that shit. So what do? You turn around and you walk away. Because about 10 of them will hit you with scriptures. But like 10 single moms, boom, 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 boom. That's 100 scriptures. Now you're under scriptural attack. And you have to escape. You know what I mean? What are you going to do now? You're getting beat up by scripture. You can't win. You're surrounded by a bunch of these types of women hitting you with scripture. They hit you with 20 scripture. It's Sunday too? Oh man. It's Sunday today. I wouldn't dare start no shit out there in these streets today. They got fresh scriptures. I'd get a lashing today. You mess with them today, they got some fresh scriptures. They hit you about 20 scriptures they hit you with. Today, don't mess with these women today. Catch them by Wednesday. Maybe they'll forget. Because their scriptures don't last long in their brain. By Wednesday, they'll forget about these scriptures. Because if you try to hold them accountable for anything, whoa. You can't. Because, again, Casey's husband represents hope. What is a real man? Everything that benefits them. And this is what society has evolved to right now. And that's why we got to be careful about when they say real man around me, I get nervous. I'll be like, whoa. What do you mean? A peaceful life. Look at you. You're a real man. Look at all the things that you do. Whoa. I have to go sit down and have a self-evaluation. I have to have a self-evaluation. If these modern women are saying you're a real man, you got to sit down and think for a while. What do they really mean? Yeah, he said, God has ordained that fornication. Hey, look, they got a scripture for that too, man. They're fresh today, man. The Pookie and Ray Show, they're loaded with scriptures today, man. So you don't want to get into the scriptural kung fu war with these people today. You know, they'll take you down, man. I'm telling you, man. You know, I call them, spiritual talkers, sinful walkers. Man, don't mess with them on a Sunday. Get them on a Wednesday. By that time, they've had 1, 2, 3, a couple days of sin to balance them out. But don't mess with them on a Sunday. Get them on a Wednesday when they calm down a little bit. Because then you can kind of get them to relax themselves. But listen to her logic. She cares about, when is my hero coming? When is my Russell? These women when is my Russell Wilson coming? Because that's all they care about. If she can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. You know, having standards and values makes you immoral to them. But it's never about you. It's never about you. That's what guys got to realize. It's never about you. You're like a wrench in a toolkit. It's never about you. So it's about the possibility. So Alex Fine, and he says the perfect thing that gets the women going, you know. He knows how to play the game. He says the perfect look at it. I'm telling you right now. This is what's funny about it, right? This is the perfect thing. He knows how to play the game. He's better than Bill Belichick with that fake thing. Okay? Like he's better than remember when Bill Belichick staged that thing with that young girl to get the feminist off his scent? You see Bill coaching that young lady. Bill, you're full of shit. Trust me. I know a scam when I see it, Bill Belichick. Coaching that young girl. That's the best play Bill Belichick has ran all year. It's called keep the hyenas off your scent. Smart, clever. Because if he shows the image of an empowered young girl, the feminists would be like, oh yeah, he roasting that old man in his old saggy balls. Bill right there chilling like this. Notice you haven't heard anything from it lately. You notice you ain't heard anything from the Bill Belichick's camp. You notice you ain't heard anything from his kids or anybody, his ex-wives or his kids or anybody, because Bill staged that whole crap. So, like Bill Belichick, stage an event. Bill, look, I ain't going to really focus on Bill because I understand what Bill had to do. I ain't a fan of these hyenas either. And sometimes you have to get them off your scent. I get it, Bill. Bill's clever. That was good. That was good. But I know bullshit when I see it. You're not saying believe half of what you see and nothing what you hear. It is true in the Bill Belichick situation. That is staged like a... Look at his body language. Look at his body language. Unfazed. Look at it, but that bullshit play he ran. Anyhow, that's called gaslight the feminists. That's a whole nother story. I ain't gonna call out Bill because I'm on Bill's side. Yeah, I ain't calling Bill out. But look at how this is staged. I mean, just listen to this drivel here. Okay, he's clever with that. I have felt so many things sitting there. I have felt tremendous pride and overwhelming love for Case. I have felt profound anger that she has been subjected to sitting in front of a person who's been subjected to sitting in front of a person, okay, who tried to break her, he said. I did not save Cassie, as some have said. To say that is an insult to the years of painful work my wife has done to save herself. Casey saved Casey, he added. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Why do women like that pick men like Diddy? Why do women pick men like Epstein? They do it for the money. They go after the money. They go after the money. Money is more important than character. They chase money. Money, power, and fame. That's why they go after degenerates like Diddy. Money, power, and fame. They're no angels. Diddy is of poor character and poor taste. There are no angels in any of this. You can see the things what Diddy has done to his artists, that's done to the people around him. Diddy is rotten. But there are no angels around this. These women are not coming over there because they fell in love. They do it for the money, power, and fame. At the end of the day, right or wrong or indifferent, Money, power, and fame is what attracts them to this environment. It's just the way it is. So, with that being said, I'm about to get out of here for the day. It's past my hour time. But this is the mentality and the mindset that they have towards today's men. And it is what it is. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. They're going to keep pushing this narrative. They're going to keep shaming men. You look at y'all. Y'all don't measure up to a pimple on Alice Fine's ass, you losers. Look at you. You're supposed to be getting these women that have been pissed on, pooped on, women that have been flown out to Saudi Arabia and other places. Not Saudi Arabia. What's the other places? Dubai. They've been flown out to Dubai and defecated on, and you guys are supposed to wipe them up, kiss them in the mouth. Otherwise, you're not real men. That's what they're trying to tell you. Women's past don't matter. You're not a man if you check on a woman's past. You losers, good luck. So that's basically what it is. So Alice Fine gives women hope. Hope is what it's all about. Keep you guys taking less, trying to reprogram and mind molest somebody into mediocrity. Good luck. Anyhow, with that being said, I'm out. Thank you guys for supporting the show. You want to donate to the channel, please do. Hit the like button. Contributions appreciated. I'm out of here, man. Peace and blessings.